Hey everybody, it's Katie and I wanted to share one of our family's favorite recipes for March. This is a really good thing to make in the spring because asparagus is one of the first fresh spring vegetables you can find in most places. I happen to love it. If you don't, you could probably substitute some other vegetable. But I mean, to me, how can you go wrong? This is called spaghetti al limone. And basically it's a vegetarian pasta dish with lemon, Parmesan, cream, asparagus, I mean, all good things. So this is a recipe my sister-in-law made when she was visiting us once, and I don't know where she got the recipe, but I do know that she modified it a bit because the recipe she had found was made with chicken. She's always left the chicken out and substituted the asparagus, so that's the way I like it too. I am going to show you as much of the prep as I can ahead of time while Alice is occupied. It comes together pretty quickly, but it needs to be served pretty soon after you've made it, so I'm going to need to do most of the cooking just right before dinner time. Let me show you what you need. Okay, so ignore the fruit in the back. You're going to need olive oil, salt and pepper, a shallot, a package of, this is 1 pound of spaghetti, you can use any kind of pasta that you like, 2 lemons, around 2 lemons, it might be more like 3 depending on your lemons. We could use fresh basil. I don't have any in this season, so I'm going to use dried basil. Grated Parmesan cheese, heavy whipping cream, and then a bunch of asparagus and a Care Bear. My first step is going to be steaming or blanching the asparagus. I like to get it all cleaned up and cut it into roughly like 1.5 inch pieces. And then I usually steam it, but you could also blanch it. I will, I guess, show you briefly how I do that. If you don't already know this trick, asparagus can be kind of like tough or woody at the end, but rather than just kind of guessing where it gets tough, asparagus will tell you. I usually use both hands, but if you just kind of let it bend and then break where it will, it's going to snap off all of the tough parts and just leave you the good part. Okay, my asparagus is chopped into pieces that are about 1 inch or 1.5 inches big. I like to steam them, so I've just put them all into my pot that has a steamer basket at the bottom. If you can see this. Then there's about 1 inch of water underneath. And basically, I just bring the water to a boil with the lid on, and the asparagus steams. It only takes a couple of minutes, so I just keep a good eye on it so it doesn't get overcooked. The other way to do this would be just to bring a pot of water to a boil and throw your asparagus in for just like a minute and then take it out and put it into a bowl of ice water so it stops cooking. Either way will work, just as long as it's, tender, ready to eat. While my asparagus is cooking, I am going to chop the only other things I need to chop. I've got my shallot. This is a medium size, I think, smallish one. I'm looking for about 3 tablespoons, and I want this to be minced, so really finely chopped. I can also zest my lemons. I'm looking for 2 teaspoons of zest and a total of about 1/4 cup of lemon juice, so I will juice them as well. Of course, I'll put all the amounts you need in the description box. My shallot is chopped. You could definitely just use a regular onion. I have juiced and zested my lemon, and actually I had like a super juicy, zesty lemon, so I only needed 1. I have more than enough zest and juice, and I love lemon, so I always put extra, but even so, my 1 lemon did the trick. So measure before you go to your 2nd lemon. Okay guys, I just put my salt and pasta into my water. This is going to cook like about 8 minutes until it's al dente. The deal is we need to save the water that it is cooking in, so when the pasta is done, I'm going to drain it into a bowl. I'll show you, I just put my colander over a bowl instead of having this over the sink. You're going to save out 1 3/4 cup of the cooking water. And as soon as the pasta's done, things are going to get kind of fast and furious, but it'll all be done in about 5 minutes after that. Here comes my pasta. Okay, pasta itself just gets set aside for right now. Pot goes back on the stove. I'm going to scoop out the water I need. One and 3/4. Alright, my burner is back on. I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of olive oil and my shallots, and I'm going to cook them just until they get tender, just a few minutes here. Okay, I also added a ½ teaspoon of salt. Sorry, I forgot to film that. And this is looking tender, so I'm about to whisk in my pasta water and cream. I'm going to start with just 1.5 cups of the pasta water and see if I need the last 1/4 cup later. I'm going to give this just a couple of minutes until it starts to simmer around the edges, and then I'm going to turn off the heat. Okay, burner is off and the pasta is going back in the pot. I'm just going to toss it so the noodles get wet. And then we're going to add all the rest of our ingredients. We've got 3 more tablespoons of olive oil, or ballpark. My lemon juice, lemon zest. ½ cup of Parmesan cheese. A little bit of black pepper. And we're going to toss it together again. When it looks combined, I'm going to put the lid on and give it a couple of minutes to just sit and absorb the liquid. I'm going to stir it, kind of check on it every 30 seconds or so. Alright, there is still some liquid here at the bottom, so I don't think I need the last 1/4 cup of my cooking water. I'm not going to add that. 2 more ingredients. I have got my basil. If I had fresh basil, I'd be using 2 tablespoons, but I just don't buy fresh herbs they're not in season. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of dried. That is roughly the proportion for substitution of dried herbs. And then I'm going to toss back in my asparagus. And I will plate it up and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, there you have it. I like to top it with a little bit of extra shredded Parmesan. But there you go. You can adjust seasonings to taste if you want. If you eat a lot of tomato-based pasta, maybe this will be a way to switch it up for you, to give you a little something springy. Hope you enjoy.